The Grand Assembly Hall buzzed with what could only be described as diplomatic smugness. 700 species, give or take a few dozen hive minds, had gathered to witness what they assumed would be humanity's humiliation. I was there, perched on my observation platform, all four of my ocular sensors focused on the drama unfolding below. My name is Vrell. I am a record keeper for the Galactic Coalition. My species, the Thaxians, pride ourselves on neutrality and documentation. We have witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the birth of alliances, and the death of civilizations. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for what happened that day. The humans had been summoned. Their delegation stood at the center of the chamber, surrounded by a semicircle of accusers. At the front of the human group was Ambassador Marcus Webb, a man whose reputation for patience had been legendary. Past tense intentional. Humans, began High Chancellor Korvax, his translator crackling with barely concealed contempt, you have been brought before this council to answer for your continued violations of Protocol 47. Your military expansion. Your resource extraction rates. Your stubborn refusal to comply with our guidelines for acceptable civilization development. Webb said nothing. He simply stood there, hands clasped behind his back, expression unreadable. This was apparently not the cowering response Korvax had anticipated. The Zelthian representative, a floating blob of bioluminescent gas named Praith, decided to pile on. Furthermore, humanity has ignored 17 separate requests to limit your population growth. Your species breeds like Kavarian swamp lice. It is disturbing. It is unsustainable. It is, quite frankly, disgusting. A few delegates actually laughed. Can you believe that? They laughed. I noticed Webb's jaw tighten. Just barely. Just enough. The Morgothi delegate, Kresh, slithered forward on 6 muscular appendages. And let us not forget the human tendency toward violence. You have more wars in your recorded history than most species have meals. Your entertainment glorifies conflict. Your children play with weapon replicas. You are a blight upon civilized space. More laughter. More nodding of various head analogues. Then came the Xylopian ambassador, Trent. Yes, Trent. The Xylopians had adopted human naming conventions as a gesture of friendship decades ago. Apparently that friendship had an expiration date. The Coalition has been extraordinarily patient with Earth. We have extended opportunities, shared technology, offered guidance. And how have you repaid us? With defiance. With arrogance. With this absurd notion that you deserve an equal voice among species who achieved spaceflight while your ancestors were still banging rocks together. That one stung. I could see it in the faces of the human delegation. The younger ones looked angry. The older ones looked tired. Webb looked like a star going supernova in extreme slow motion. Therefore, Korvax continued, his voice swelling with self-importance, the Coalition has voted. Humanity will be placed under Tier 7 restrictions. Your military will be downsized by 80%. Your industrial output will be monitored and capped. Your expansion beyond your current territorial boundaries is hereby forbidden. You will comply, or you will face sanctions. Economic, diplomatic, and if necessary, military. The chamber erupted in applause. Actual applause. 700 species celebrating the humiliation of one. Webb finally moved. He reached into his jacket, slowly, and withdrew a data tablet. For a moment, I thought he might throw it. Instead, he tapped it once, twice, 3 times. Then he looked up at Korvax with a smile that could freeze hydrogen. Ambassador Webb, Korvax said with oily satisfaction, do you have something to say? An apology, perhaps? A plea for reconsideration? Oh, I have something, Webb replied, his voice perfectly calm, perfectly level, perfectly terrifying. I have several things, actually. He held up the tablet. This is Earth's formal response to your so-called restrictions. We have carefully reviewed every treaty, every agreement, every accord we have signed with the Coalition over the past 73 years. We found them all remarkably one-sided. Funny how that works. Korvax's face plates shifted colors. You will comply with the Council's decision. Webb laughed. Actually laughed. It echoed through the chamber like thunder. Comply? Chancellor, we are done complying. Effective immediately, Earth is withdrawing from every single treaty we have signed with the Coalition. Every single one. Trade agreements? Gone. Defense pacts? Terminated. Technology sharing initiatives? Cancelled. The mutual protection accords? Consider them void. The chamber went silent. I mean dead silent. The kind of silence that makes your sensory organs ring. You cannot do that, Praith sputtered, his gaseous form flickering wildly. Actually, Webb said, consulting his tablet, according to Article 912 of the Coalition Charter, any member species can withdraw from treaties with 30 days' notice. We are providing that notice now. Well, technically we provided it 29 days ago. We just wanted to see you all preen and posture first. Entertainment value, you understand. My mandibles hung open. They had planned this. They had let the Coalition dig this hole, knowing full well they were about to drop everyone into it. Kresh hissed, you will be isolated. Alone. Vulnerable. Webb's smile grew wider. Will we? Let me tell you what happens next. Webb stepped forward, and every species in that chamber instinctively recoiled. Funny how quickly predator recognition kicks in when you actually pay attention. Let me paint you all a picture, Webb continued, his voice dropping to something conversational, almost friendly. Which somehow made it worse. You know those trade agreements you just mentioned, Kresh? The ones where humanity supplies 42% of the Coalition's processed metals, 37% of its agricultural output, and 68% of its medical supplies? Gone. Effective in 30 days. I watched Praitha's bioluminescence flicker into the ultraviolet spectrum. Panic, if I was reading him correctly. You are bluffing, Korvax said, but his voice had lost its earlier confidence. You need our markets. Our technology. Our protection. Webb actually laughed again. This human had apparently discovered the therapeutic value of mockery. Protection? From what, exactly? The Carthan swarm you all begged us to fight off 6 years ago while you hid behind defensive perimeter lines? Or perhaps you mean protection from the Void Wraith incursion that humanity dealt with, alone, because the Coalition was too busy debating proper pronouns for sentient nebulae? Trent tried to interject. Now wait just a moment, we contributed support ships during that engagement. You contributed thoughts and prayers, Webb shot back. We contributed blood. 18,000 human soldiers died holding that line. The Coalition sent a delegation to observe and 3 cargo vessels full of ration packs. So please, do not lecture us about your protection. I pulled up my historical records, cross-referencing. Webb was not exaggerating. If anything, he was being generous. The humans had been doing the Coalition's dirty work for decades while being treated like the help. Webb was not finished. And technology? You mean the gravity manipulation systems we developed that you now use in 70% of your civilian vessels? Or perhaps the medical nanites that have extended average lifespan across 49 Coalition species? Or maybe, just maybe, you mean the translation matrix that allows this very conversation to happen, which was created by a human linguist named Dr. Emma Kowalski in her garage. The silence was becoming uncomfortable. I started cross-referencing again, my fingers flying across my data interfaces. Everything Webb said was checking out. How had we missed this? How had the Coalition become so dependent on humanity while simultaneously treating them with such contempt? Here is what else happens in 30 days, Webb said, his tone shifting from mocking to absolutely glacial. All human personnel currently serving in coalition roles will be recalled. That includes the security forces protecting this very station. The engineering crews maintaining your faster-than-light relay network. The agricultural specialists on 14 colony worlds. The doctors, the teachers, the technicians. Every single human comes home. Korvax was now standing, his ceremonial robes fluttering with what my sensors identified as genuine distress. You would cripple the coalition out of spite? This is madness. This is precisely why you need supervision. Webb's expression did not change. Spite? No, Chancellor. This is consequences. You want to treat us like children? Fine. Children do not pay the bills. Children do not die in your wars. Children do not carry the infrastructure of an entire galactic civilization on their backs while being lectured about their barbarism. Kresh slithered forward aggressively. Earth will not survive alone. You have enemies. Species who remember your violent expansion. Your territorial disputes. Without coalition support, you will be vulnerable to reprisals. This, I thought, was where Webb would finally break. Where the human bravado would crumble in the face of reality. Species more advanced than humanity absolutely existed. Species who held grudges. Instead, Webb smiled again. This one was different. This one had teeth. Let me address that concern. While you have all been busy congratulating yourselves on your moral superiority, humanity has been busy doing what humans do best. Adapting. Preparing. Building. He tapped his tablet again. Behind him, a holographic display materialized. I nearly fell off my observation platform. The data streaming across that display showed military buildups, weapons development, defensive installations, fleet compositions that were at least a decade more advanced than coalition intelligence had suggested. That frigate you thought was a colony transport? Webb gestured at one image. It is a warship. One of 247. Those mining stations near the outer rim? They are fortresses. Those research facilities we claimed were studying agricultural optimization? They were studying you. Every single one of you. Your military capabilities, your economic weaknesses, your political instabilities. My translation of Korvax's next sound would be unprintable in most languages. The Chancellor was experiencing what humans call a very bad day. Webb continued his systematic destruction of coalition assumptions. So let me make this absolutely clear. Any species that views Earth's withdrawal as an opportunity for aggression will discover exactly why humans have so many wars in our history. We got good at it. Really good at it. And unlike the coalition, we do not form committees to debate military responses. We do not wait for unanimous votes. We do not worry about optics. Trent spoke up, his voice shaking. This is not how civilized species behave. You are proving everything we said about you. Civilized? Webb turned to face the Xylopian. You want to talk about civilized? Your species purchases luxury goods produced by slave labor on Kepler 9. The Zelthians traffic in biological warfare research that violates every ethical standard ever written. The Morgothi have been conducting genetic experiments on pre-spaceflight species for entertainment purposes. And Korvax? Your family fortune comes from mining operations that have rendered 6 worlds uninhabitable. I checked. All true. All documented. All conveniently ignored by coalition oversight. Meanwhile, Webb said, his voice rising now, genuine anger breaking through, humanity has been cleaning up your messes, fighting your wars, keeping your infrastructure running, and asking for nothing except basic respect. Which, apparently, was too much. He tucked the tablet back into his jacket. We are done. 30 days, ladies, gentlemen, and assorted biological configurations. Earth will be withdrawing all personnel, terminating all agreements, and closing our borders to coalition traffic. If you wish to renegotiate in the future, you know where to find us. We will be at home, surrounded by those 247 warships, eating our swamp lice population surpluses and playing with our weapon replicas. With that, Ambassador Marcus Webb turned on his heel. The entire human delegation followed. They walked through that silent chamber with their heads high, their backs straight, their dignity intact. I sat there, all my recording devices working overtime, trying to process what I had just witnessed. The coalition had taunted humanity. Humanity had responded by ripping out the foundations of galactic civilization and walking away. From my observation platform, I watched 700 species begin to panic as they realized just how badly they had miscalculated. The humans were not leaving because they were weak. They were leaving because they were strong enough to survive alone. And more terrifying? They were angry enough to prove it. Friends, if you are enjoying our videos and want to watch new and exciting sci-fi and HFY stories every day, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to turn on the bell icon so you never miss any of our latest uploads. Like the video and share it with your friends as well, so our community can continue to grow and bring you even more amazing content.